Have you ever wondered why a woman raises her eyebrows at you for a split second, or why she absent-mindedly runs her fingers through her hair when you walk into the room? You probably noticed it once or twice and thought, did she mean something by that? Or am I just imagining it? That tiny flicker of an eyebrow, that casual touch of her hair on the surface. It looks harmless, almost unconscious. But in the world of attraction and power dynamics, nothing is harmless. Every gesture carries weight. Every signal plants a seed. And if you don't know how to read it, you will be the one left guessing while she controls the frame. Picture this: you're at a bar with friends. A woman across the room makes eye contact for less than a second. Her eyebrows flash upward, barely noticeable. Then she looks away, laughs with her friend, and flips her hair back behind her shoulder. Suddenly, you're locked in your head. Was that an invitation? Should I approach? Or would I look desperate by the time you've replayed it 10 times in your mind? The moment is gone. She knows it, you feel it, and you're left with nothing but doubt. This is where men lose the battle before it even begins. You think women are subtle by accident. You think they touch their hair because they're bored, or flash their eyebrows because of surprise. No, these gestures are tools. They're calibrated tests. They create emotional tension inside of you, and the man who doesn't understand them spends his life reacting instead of leading. Women respect the man who sees the game for what it is and doesn't get pulled into the undertow of uncertainty. The eyebrow flash is one of the oldest, most primal signals of interest. Anthropologists have studied it across cultures. It's a universal human cue. But here's the catch: women also use it to plant the thought of attraction without having to own it. She can flash her eyebrows at you, spark a jolt of dopamine in your brain, and then withdraw instantly. If you react, if you stare, fumble, smile like you've been chosen, you've already surrendered the frame. She doesn't even need to speak. You've shown her that her micro-gesture controls your reality. The hair touch, that's not just about nerves or habit. It's about self-display. It's a subconscious way of saying, look at me, I know you're watching, and I want you to think about my femininity. But again, it's a test. Will you start drooling like every other man? Will you stumble over yourself to signal your interest? Or will you hold your ground, acknowledge the cue, and let her sit in the tension of not knowing if she succeeded in pulling you off balance? Most men fail here. They overinvest in the smallest cues. They think, she touched her hair, I need to make a move. She flashed her eyebrows, I need to approach right now. And so they rush in, carrying the weight of expectation, hoping to cash in on a moment never meant to be a guarantee. What happens? She pulls back. Suddenly she's not interested, and you feel like an idiot for reading too much into it. But the truth is, you weren't wrong about the signal. You were wrong about your reaction. Here's the strategy you need to burn into your mind. Treat every micro signal as bait, not as proof. It's not confirmation of attraction. It's a test to see how centered you are. The correct response is not to chase, not to freeze, but to remain indifferent and observe. If she flashes her eyebrows, you can hold steady eye contact for 1 beat longer than comfort allows, then calmly look away, as if nothing happened. If she touches her hair while talking to you, don't jump in with compliments. Don't let your voice shake with excitement. Instead, lean back, slow your breathing, and speak with calm authority. Show her that her signal doesn't destabilize you. That's when attraction deepens, because you've passed her test. This isn't about ignoring her. It's about shifting the power. You stop treating her gestures as commands, and instead, you see them as data, clues, tools you can use to gauge interest, while maintaining control of your own state. That's the difference between the man she teases and discards, and the man she chases without even knowing why. Women are addicted to tension. The man who holds steady creates tension without effort. The man who reacts kills it instantly. Think about the last time this happened to you. Did you lean in too fast when she played with her hair? Did you smile too eagerly when her eyebrows lifted in your direction? Or did you hold your frame, let her wonder what you were thinking, and force her to make the next move? That difference decides whether you're the hunter or the prey. The hair touch. That's not just about nerves or habit. It's about self-display. It's a subconscious way of saying, look at me. I know you're watching, and I want you to think about my femininity. But again, it's a test. Will you start drooling like every other man? Will you stumble over yourself to signal your interest? Or will you hold your ground, acknowledge the cue, and let her sit in the tension of not knowing if she succeeded in pulling you off balance? Most men fail here. They overinvest in the smallest cues. They think, she touched her hair, I need to make a move. She flashed her eyebrows, I need to approach right now. And so they rush in, carrying the weight of expectation, hoping to cash in on a moment that was never meant to be a guarantee. What happens? She pulls back. Suddenly she's not interested, and you feel like an idiot for reading too much into it. But the truth is, you weren't wrong about the signal. You were wrong about your reaction. Here's the strategy you need to burn into your mind. Treat every micro signal as bait, not as proof. It's not confirmation of attraction. It's a test to see how centered you are. The correct response is not to chase, not to freeze, but to remain indifferent and observe. If she flashes her eyebrows, you can hold steady eye contact for one beat longer than comfort allows, then calmly look away, as if nothing happened. If she touches her hair while talking to you, don't jump in with compliments. Don't let your voice shake with excitement. Instead, lean back, slow your breathing, and speak with calm authority. Show her that a signal doesn't destabilize you. That's when attraction deepens because you've passed her test. This isn't about ignoring her. It's about shifting the power. You stop treating her gestures as commands, and instead, you see them as data, clues, tools you can use to gauge interest, while maintaining control of your own state. That's the difference between the man she teases and discards, and the man she chases without even knowing why. Women are addicted to tension. The man who holds steady creates tension without effort. The man who reacts kills it instantly. Think about the last time this happened to you. Did you lean in too fast when she played with her hair? Did you smile too eagerly when her eyebrows lifted in your direction? Or did you hold your frame, let her wonder what you were thinking, and force her to make the next move? That difference decides whether you're the hunter or the prey. So tell me, have you ever recognized yourself in this exact situation? What happened next? Did you chase, or did you hold back? Which one of these subtle gestures has pulled you off balance before? The eyebrow flash or the hair touch? And be honest, what's the hardest part for you spotting the cue, or resisting the urge to react? You remember the moment she looked at you, her eyebrows flickered, her hand swept through her hair, and suddenly you felt a rush of adrenaline, like the universe had just handed you an invitation. But here's the reality, most of those moments aren't invitations. They're pressure tests. She wants to see how easily your emotions can be swayed. If a single twitch of her eyebrow or a casual flick of her hair can send you spiraling into overanalysis, she knows your center of gravity is weak, and a man without gravity is a man she can never truly respect. Think about the psychology behind this. Women are masters of indirect communication because it shields them from rejection. If she sends a signal and you bite, she has the power to decide whether to reward you or withdraw. If she sends a signal and you don't react, the power shifts back to her because now she has to decide whether to make herself clearer. This is why indifference is magnetic. It forces her to step out of her safe zone and risk more. And that risk is what creates genuine attraction. Let's get brutally honest. You've probably made the mistake of assuming these signals mean more than they do. She plays with her hair, and you think, she likes me. She locks eyes, flashes her eyebrows, and you think, she's giving me the green light. So you approach with neediness radiating off you. You're eager, leaning in, trying too hard. What happens next? She pulls away, coolly dismisses you. Or worse, she keeps giving you micro signals just to feed off your attention, with no intention of taking it further. You leave confused, doubting yourself, angry that you misread her. But you didn't misread her, you mismanaged yourself. The key is not decoding her every move, the key is decoding yourself. Ask, why do I feel compelled to act on the smallest sign? Why do I treat her unconscious gesture like a rare opportunity I must seize? That desperation exposes a deeper issue. You're starving for validation, and women can sense that hunger instantly. They'll test it, exploit it, and then lose respect for you the moment you give in. Here's your tactical shift. When you see an eyebrow flash, don't read it as interest, read it as leverage. She's checking if you'll bite. Instead of reacting, stay calm. Hold her gaze briefly, then carry on as if nothing happened. If she plays with her hair, don't rush to compliment her or escalate. Let her sit in the uncertainty. If she's truly interested, she'll send stronger signals, she'll move closer, she'll initiate more conversation. That's when you act, not when she waves a feather to see if you'll chase it. But there's another layer you need to understand. Sometimes these signals aren't about you at all. Sometimes she touches her hair because she's anxious, flashes her eyebrows because she's greeting a friend, or makes eye contact just out of habit. If you build entire fantasies off meaningless cues, you set yourself up for disappointment. The disciplined man treats every gesture as neutral until it's backed by consistent behavior. Interest is not proven by a flash, it's proven by investment. Does she move toward you? Does she maintain eye contact when you hold it? Does she initiate conversation? Ask questions? Make herself available? If not, the signals are noise. Ignore them. You need to think like a strategist. In war, false signals are sent to lure the enemy into traps. Dating is no different. Women often send signals to bait your attention without any intention of following through. It gives them the ego boost of knowing they're desired. If you fall for it, you become one of her orbiters, a man she'll never choose, but always keep around to inflate her self-image. The man who ignores the bait forces her to reveal her true hand. And that's when you discover whether she's genuinely interested or just playing. Let's be clear, this doesn't mean you should ignore women altogether or act like a robot. It means you should control your reactions. Power comes from restraint. When you're not easily moved, you project strength. And that strength is what separates you from the crowd. Every other guy is jumping at crumbs. You're waiting for the full meal. That's why she'll notice you, chase you, and respect you. So here's your challenge the next time you see an eyebrow flash or a hair touch. Pause, breathe. Ask yourself, is this bait or is this investment? If it's bait, hold steady. If it's investment, move forward with calm confidence. Stop letting your emotions dictate your choices. Start forcing her to reveal her true intent. Have you ever been strung along by a woman who gave you just enough signals to keep you hooked, but never followed through? Did you realize it too late? Or did you walk away before she drained your energy? And when was the last time you stayed calm in the face of her test, only to watch her double her effort to get your attention? You know the moment when you're standing in a group, she's across from you, laughing with her friends, and suddenly she runs her hand through her hair slowly, deliberately, as her eyes flick toward you. Every nerve in your body screams. That was for me. Your chest tightens, Your stomach flips, and before you can think, you're already leaning forward, plotting what to say, imagining the outcome. That's the trap. She hasn't committed to anything. She hasn't invested in you. She simply tested whether you'll surrender your composure to a small, subtle movement. And if you do, she wins not because she wants you, but because she knows she can pull your strings without effort. This is the hidden cost most men never calculate. Every time you jump at these signals, you reinforce a power dynamic where she leads and you follow. She sends the cue, you react. She decides the frame, you scramble inside of it. And the more you do it, the less respect she feels for you. Women don't consciously plan all of this, but their instincts are tuned to seek out men who can hold center. A man who collapses into excitement at the flick of her hair isn't a man she can trust to lead when it matters. Let's put this in raw terms. If a woman flashes her eyebrows or touches her hair and you instantly interpret it as an invitation, you're like a dog wagging its tail at the sound of keys rattling. Conditioned, predictable, easy to manipulate. That may sound harsh, but it's the truth. And once you see yourself that way, you'll understand why she loses interest so quickly. It's not that she didn't like you, it's that you showed her how little control you had over yourself. The solution isn't to ignore her signals completely. The solution is to reframe them. See them as information, not as orders. If she flashes her eyebrows, note it, store it. If she touches her hair, notice it. But don't change your behavior until her actions align consistently. That's the difference between a man who's desperate for validation and a man who commands respect. One reacts instantly, the other evaluates, waits, and acts with purpose. There's another level to this game withdrawal. A woman may give you signals, get your attention, and then suddenly go cold. She looks away, stops sending cues, acts like she's uninterested. This isn't random. It's part of the push-pull dynamic that creates emotional dependency. She pulls you in, then takes it away, forcing you to chase the feeling she gave you before. And if you're not careful, you'll spend weeks or months chasing the memory of those eyebrow flashes and hair touches, mistaking them for genuine interest instead of bait. The only way to win is to refuse the chase. When she withdraws, you withdraw further. When she cools, you turn colder, not out of spite, but out of discipline. You stop rewarding her for inconsistency. You show her that you're not moved by crumbs, you only engage when the investment is real. This forces her into a position she's not used to if she truly wants your attention. She has to prove it, and when she does, you can engage on your terms. If she doesn't, you walk away with your frame intact. This is the emotional war most men don't even realize they're fighting. They think they're just reading signs of attraction, when in reality they're being tested for strength. Women crave the feeling of being around a man who doesn't lose himself in them. The man who sees the signal, feels the surge of adrenaline, but remains calm. That's the man she keeps looking back at. Not because of his looks, not because of his status, but because of his unshakable composure. So how do you build that composure? You start by detaching your sense of worth from her signals. You remind yourself her eyebrow flash doesn't make me more valuable, and her hair touch doesn't mean I've been chosen. I was valuable before she moved. I'll be valuable if she never does it again. From that foundation, you operate differently. You stop reacting. You start leading. You become the one she has to impress, instead of the other way around. Here's your practical step the next time it happens. Slow everything down. Notice the cue. Breathe. And then deliberately choose not to act on it. Let her wonder why her signal didn't shake you. Let her sit in the silence, the tension. If she's real, she'll escalate. If she's not, she'll vanish. Either way, you've protected your frame. Either way, you win. So tell me, when was the last time you fell into the trap of chasing after a signal that never turned into anything? Did you blame yourself for misreading it? Or did you realize she was just testing your strength, and if you had the chance again? Could you hold your composure long enough to make her prove her interest instead of you proving yours? Imagine this, you're sitting across from her at a cafe. She leans in slightly, her fingers brushing through her hair, eyes flicking to yours, eyebrows lifting just enough to spark a reaction. You feel the heat rise in your chest, that subtle rush telling you, this means something. This is my moment. But then she looks down at her phone, changes the subject, or excuses herself to the restroom. You're left in limbo, replaying the gesture in your head, wondering if you should have said more, done more, pushed harder. This cycle is where most men destroy themselves, not because they misread her, but because they allowed her cues to hijack their emotions. Here's the truth you need to face: most signals women give are not about communication. They're about control. She doesn't need to say a word. She doesn't need to risk rejection. With one flick of hair or a half-second eyebrow flash, she can place you on the hook, force you to doubt, make you anticipate, and watch how far you'll go to close the gap she created. The question is not, what does this mean? The real question is, what do I do when this happens? This is where strategy separates the weak from the strong. The weak man reacts. The strong man reframes. When she plays with her hair, instead of thinking, she likes me, you think she's signaling. Let's see if she follows through. When her eyebrows flash, you don't take it as permission, you take it as a spark to observe whether her investment grows. You're no longer chasing crumbs, you're weighing her consistency, and that shift alone changes the entire dynamic. Understand this: women respect men who don't fold at the first sign of validation. They respect the man who can enjoy the signal without being controlled by it. Think of it like poker. She just threw a chip on the table. You don't go all in. You wait to see if she adds more. If she doesn't, you fold without regret. If she does, then you play, but only because the investment is clear. Most men lose because they shove all their chips in at the first wink or hair flip, only to realize she never intended to play the hand seriously. Now, let's talk tactics. When she touches her hair, your job is not to react verbally. Don't compliment. Don't smirk like a boy who just got noticed. Instead, lean back slightly, speak slower, give her nothing extra. That lack of reaction forces her to wonder, why didn't he bite? Does he not find me attractive? Suddenly, the test she thought she was giving you flips back on her. She's now the one chasing clarity, and that reversal is where your power lies. If she flashes her eyebrows, hold eye contact for a beat longer than normal, then break it calmly as if it meant nothing. That one move signals self-possession. You're telling her, I saw you. I'm not blind, but I'm not moved unless you prove you're real. This creates tension she can't resolve unless she escalates. That escalation initiating conversation, leaning toward you, asking questions, that's where the real interest reveals itself. Everything before that is just smoke. The cost of failing this discipline is enormous. If you treat every gesture as gospel, you'll live in cycles of anticipation and disappointment. You'll replay hair touches in your head like they're promises, only to be crushed when she treats you like just another option. That constant whiplash kills your confidence, drains your time, and turns you into a man who second guesses everything. But the man who sees the game, who plays it without emotion, that man grows sharper, calmer, harder to shake. He doesn't need constant signals to feel worthy. His worth existed before she lifted a finger. Here's the deeper psychological truth: women are addicted to men who don't give them certainty. If she knows her eyebrow flash owns you, the game is over, she's bored. If she knows a hair touch leaves you speechless, she files you under predictable. But if she sends the cue and you remain grounded, unshaken, unreadable, that's when you become the puzzle she can't put down. Not because you're playing games, but because you're refusing to play hers. So the next time you see the signal, I want you to test yourself. Don't speak, don't rush, don't move. Simply notice, breathe. Let her feel the weight of her own gesture. If she escalates, you engage on your terms. If she doesn't, you've lost nothing. You've kept your power, your calm, your frame intact. That is how you win in the emotional war of dating, not by decoding every flicker of her face, but by mastering your own. Now ask yourself, how many times have you built entire fantasies off a single signal, only to watch her act cold the next day? Did you feel betrayed? Or did you realize you betrayed yourself by reacting too soon? And what would change in your life if you trained yourself to remain unmoved until she truly invests? Think back to every time you've seen it, the eyebrow flash, the hair touch, the quick glance in your direction. You felt chosen for a moment, special, like fate had cracked open a door just for you. But if you're honest, how often did those little signals actually lead to something real? How many times did you chase the ghost of attraction only to find yourself drained, disappointed, and questioning your own judgment? This is the silent battlefield you've been walking across without realizing it. Those signals are not promises. They're probes. They are there to test whether you're grounded or whether you can be pulled off balance with the slightest tug. A woman doesn't need to use words to set this trap. She knows that one subconscious gesture can occupy your mind for hours. That's the brilliance of it and the danger. She flashes her eyebrows, and suddenly you're interpreting every moment through the lens of, does she like me? She plays with her hair, and now you're convinced she's flirting. Your focus shifts from your own presence and value to her approval. Without knowing it, you've made her the center of your reality, and that's when she owns you. Let's break it down with ruthless clarity. An eyebrow flash is not a declaration of desire. It's an instinctive social cue, sometimes of recognition, sometimes of play, sometimes of nothing at all. A hair touch can be attraction, but it can just as easily be habit, nerves, or attention-seeking. The mistake is not noticing them. The mistake is attaching your worth to them. When you do that, you're no longer a man evaluating her, you're a boy waiting to be picked. And women sense it instantly. Here's the principle you must burn into your mind. Her signals don't mean anything until they're backed by action. Interest isn't proven by eyebrows or hair, it's proven by effort. Does she approach you? Does she maintain eye contact when you hold it? Does she laugh at your words, ask you questions, find reasons to stay near you? That's investment. Everything else is just noise. Your job is to filter the noise without losing your composure. Now, let's talk about how to weaponize this awareness. When she sends a signal, the average man reacts. He lights up, leans in, invests more. But you do the opposite. You slow down, you let it register, but you don't reward it. You speak with calm authority. You lean back, not forward. You make her sit in the uncertainty of not knowing whether she got to you. That silence, that pause, is where the real tension lives. And women are drawn to that tension like moths to a flame. Think of it like this: every signal is a rope she tosses your way. Most men grab it immediately and pull, desperate to close the gap. But the man with discipline doesn't tug. He lets the rope hang. If she wants connection, she has to pull it herself. That's when you know her interest is real. That's when you engage, not before. But here's the darker truth. Some women use these signals not out of attraction, but out of hunger for attention. They flash their eyebrows, flip their hair, lean in not because they want you, but because they want to feel powerful, validated, admired. They collect reactions the way a gambler collects chips, stacking them up to feed their ego. If you fall into that trap, you become another chip in her pile, discarded when she's done. The only way to protect yourself is to refuse to be moved by crumbs. You demand consistency, investment, effort, or you walk away. This is the internal cost of failing the test. You become addicted to the highs and lows of her signals. The eyebrow flash gives you a rush. Her withdrawal leaves you empty. You chase the rush again, hoping she'll touch her hair or glance your way. Before you know it, you're not even pursuing her. You're pursuing the chemical hit she gives you with micro gestures. That's not attraction, that's addiction. And it's the fastest path to losing yourself. But the man who masters this, he becomes untouchable. He can enjoy the signal without being controlled by it. He can flirt without attachment, observe without surrendering. And because he doesn't react like every other man, she feels something rare around him. Mystery. He's not predictable. He's not conquered. He's not already owned by the flick of her eyebrow. That's what makes him unforgettable. So let me ask you, how many times have you mistaken attention-seeking signals for genuine attraction? Did you ever notice how cold she turned once you gave her exactly what she wanted, your reaction? And what would happen if, starting today, you refused to be moved until her actions matched her cues? She didn't break you. She revealed what you were too afraid to protect.